Welcome everyone to another episode or show of the Full Throttle Sim Racing Series here on Nerd TV. Catch us live on Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube, wherever you desire. We're going to be there for you guys for the final 3 races for the Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach1 Performance Cup Series. This time you're going to find us at the 0.75 mile Richmond Raceway, following the actual Cup schedule, of course, as they always do here at Full Throttle. 200 laps this time, going to around this 0.75 mile track. Weather's looking pretty good, about average all the way around. Not really too many clouds in the area, just kind of partly spread it around. 115 degrees on the track, and 76 degrees in the air, and that temp will cool down on the track as the race is continued. 200 laps is a pretty lengthy one, but it is a short track, so for these boys over here at Full Throttle, they don't like to cause cautions, which typically makes for a little bit shorter race, but 200 laps nonetheless is a pretty long one. So and there's a huge points battle going on if you guys have not followed in or tuned in recently. 3 drivers with 3 races left. Chuck Sweeting leading the way. He took the points lead about a month ago whenever Richie took his 1-week hiatus to go camping and spending time with friends and family. And Chuck Sweeting's kind of been sitting there taking advantage of it. 6 points separates your leader, Chuck Sweeting, over Richie Coy. And then the other guy, it's a little bit of a stretch, but Brody Hannah currently seeing 20 points back of Chuck Sweeting. And if Chuck and Richie, which they don't wreck, but if they happen to get in something, Brody's there. He's been coming on strong. He's been top 5 a lot of the times. Won, I think, last week. So you never know. But right now, Chuck and Richie, they have their own little show. They race each other each and every week, as you guys know, and don't expect anything different tonight. And now they got a points battle on their hands as well. So that being all said, Mr. Kenny is taking the week off to spend time with his family. So I have to, unfortunately, spend time with this guy on next to my right shoulder, Mr. Ballistic. How are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing pretty darn good, KB taking the week off, allowing me to get in here and play around and have some fun in the booth as well. So he's taking some R&R with the family. But nonetheless, like you said, it's going to be an awesome show, though. Richmond always poses some great racing. I mean, fantastic racing. It's short track racing at its best. Probably expect to see, some tempers out there, that short track temper. It's nature of the beast when it comes to it. But like you said, we have a solid points battle going on right now. 6 points separating first and second place right now. Brody Hannah, don't count that man out as much as he hates these cars. Don't count him out. 20 points. He still has a chance. But like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what's going on. But, I mean, you got some wild cards in there as well that can really start shuffling up these drivers in this field here. You can't count out Rocket Man Nicholas Moreau. 8 poles on the season. Can he add another one to make number 9? Only time's going to tell, Jeremy.
8 poles alone is outstanding. With him, was it 12 races they've been through so far? It's actually like 11 races. He's got 8 poles. Pretty crazy stat there alone. If you remember, too, going back to Brody Hannah, I think it was him last week that we quoted him with, I think he found something with these next-gen cars and wanted to relay it to the team to see if that performance can get any better to match the speed of Chuck Sweeting and whatnot. Brody Hannah, who's already been coming on strong as of late, fastest on the charts in practice, P2, just right underneath that Rocket Man, Mr. Nicholas Moreau, which, he's on pace to get his 9th pole of the season. So we'll have to find out here in about a minute when they take qualifying to see how they get that. Yeah, Mr. Superman. I think you coined that, right, Mr. Rocket Man Moreau?
I believe I did. I believe you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brody goes around for a little fun spin there as last minute practice falls into play. But early predictions, or I guess kind of late predictions at this point. Championship, the top 3. Do you think Chuck's got it, Mr. Ballistic? Or do you think Richie's going to find some extra speed that he's well needed of? Or do you think Brody's going to strike some luck?
My prediction, it's going to go down to season end. I feel that Brody's going to close that gap a little bit, and it's all going to come down to that Daytona track, and that's not what these drivers want to hear, because that's a wild card nonetheless. But it's going to come down. We are not going to have a champion crowned a race 2 races before season finale. It's your champion will be crowned after the conclusion of Daytona.
What's huge about that too is you look at the entry list tonight. I think there's 24 cars you counted on this list. 24 cars, that's 24 points. So, like, if they go into Daytona and there's an early wreck that takes out your 2 contenders, Brody just has to avoid it and do pretty decent. It's all his. So, that being said, we got qualifying underway here. So, it's time to get our ugly mugs off your guys' screens and turn to our sponsors who allow us to do this every Monday night for you guys here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. FTSR.net is your home for all the league action on Monday night that we cover. We're not going anywhere. We are coming back for season 2022C with these guys. So if you want us to call you on the racetrack here at Full Throttle, join up at FTSR.net. They got a pretty cool system that's being developed, almost completed at this point. It's a team charter system. It's not just hop and join. Kind of fun, kind of experimental. I've already got the league signed up with my team, and it's pretty fun. I would highly recommend to do it. So FTSR.net, please join in. These guys are bad, fast, and clean as always that you see every Monday, or it was Monday and Wednesday. Now it's just Mondays at the moment. So FTSR.net. Thank you to Mach1 Performance Cup Series sponsor for the Full Throttle Sim Racing League. So if you have a race car that needs some fabrication work and Mach1 Performance is in your area, head over to facebook.com/Mach1 Performance. These guys have produced championship winning teams from the SCCA, NASA, Dirt and Pavement Oval. So basically anything short track related, these guys got your back. Sim Racing Points, your truck series sponsor every Wednesday night. It's your all-inclusive league points management system. It's simply, you just take your export, you upload it in this software, and then within a few seconds, you have everything, at your display. You have your points, your stats, the schedule's cleanly laid out. Anything that you're looking for, really, stat-wise, it's all cleanly laid out, and you can do it in full page display. You can do it in widgets, and it makes your league look so much more professional than anybody else out there. So if you're interested in doing something like that with your league, simracingpoints.com. Check out their pricing plans. Great price point for all the stuff they offer you. Thank you to Martin Sports, continued partner for the Nerditudes. They supply all of our apparel basically when it comes from the hats down to the shirts, anything in between. Customized shirt orders, fastest turnaround in the business as long as FedEx is doing their job. These guys at Martin Sports 906 got your back. And they offer a crazy discount promotion for anybody watching the broadcast here. If you type in Super Nerd at checkout, get you 25% off at martinsports906.com. Thank you to iRacing iFlag, flag partner for the Nerditudes. It's that little enhanced caution light display that's on the catch fence in most tracks, but it offers a lot more than just that. It sits on your desk and gives you 30 different iRacing commands, whether it be from the spotter or just anything that's going on the racing track, like all the flags and whatnot. So if you want to complete your sim rig, head over to iRacingIFlag.com and use that Super Nerd checkout code for 15% off. Shout out to the Butt Kicker for being the audio enhancement partner for the Nerditudes. You need to buy that Gamer 2 unit. It attaches to the bottom of your chair, and it brings all the bumps and feels, makes you feel like you're actually in the race car, but at your computer. One of a kind of experience there. Head over to thebuttkicker.com and use that promo code, as always, this time, NerdTV. Going to save you 20%. Moonlight Speed at moonlightspeed.com, your official pave setup partner for the Nerditudes. And if you're looking for some wins, these guys got your back, updating these setups all the time to really make them at their peak performance as possible. So if you want to get some wins at a good price point, head over to moonlightspeed.com. And then the same thing, but on dirt, is going to be houseofspeed.us. Professional setups from the ground up. It doesn't matter if you're on a slick track, tacky surface, need to run high, need to run low. These setups will get you those wins as well. Once again, it's houseofspeed.us. And lastly, Nerd Focus. Guys over at nerdfocus.com. The Think Drink. They only have 2 flavors, pretty self-explanatory. Green is sugar, blue is not. Either way, the flavor is amazing, easy to drink. So if you're looking for some focus, you want to be like a nerd like us doing so, you're going to head over to that Nerd Focus website and use Super Nerd at checkout, get you 10% off. All right, Dustin, we got about 10 seconds left to wrap up in qualifying. And guess who is not on the top of the charts right now?
Yeah, so Rocket Man got knocked off the top of the charts as they sit right now. Qualifying coming to an end has officially closed, and it looks like Richie Coy is going to take that top spot. So if you were wondering what Richie was going to bring to the competition this weekend, or this week rather, I think he's showing it right now, Jeremy.
Yeah, him and Nicholas have been basically tied all practice session, and then coming to qualifying, these guys are separated by 9/1000ths of a second. So that is really tight here, and really top three with Chuck Sweeting all in that 0.1 category, 22.1s for those three. But the official starting grid here completed. Richie Coy going to take the pole spot. Nicholas Moreau is going to be in second. Chuck Sweeting in third. Brody Hannah in fourth, which is good to mention. You got your three contenders for that championship there in the first two rows. Fifth place, you're going to find Lane Allen. Sixth place, Jonathan Varanoskis. Seventh, Ryan Hedrick. Eighth, Wayne Grossi. Ninth place, Gil Gawk, can round out your top 10. Sherwood Williford.
Yeah, Martin Garreau is going to start in P11. Brian Dublé is going to start in that 12th position. 13th is going to go to Josh Mayu. Tony Solari starting 14th to his outside. Alex Murphy starting 15th. Stephen Lou Allen 16th. Brandon Elder qualifying. Good to see him put down a time there in 17th. Steve Loomis starting 18th. You got Josh Johnson starting 19th. Rounding out your top 20 is Kyle Milliken. 21st is going to go to Justin Diltz. 22nd, Fred Moreau making a return back, his third start. And 22nd, 23rd, James Wallace. 24th, Chris Beck. And rounding out your field right now is the 18 of Brian Bliss.
It's 25 cars. That's one more than what I quoted earlier. So I think this is, I have to go back and take a look, but I think this is the largest field this season for 2022B. So shout out to each and every one of these guys out here that's showing up, getting down to season's end. Plus, it's a short track, so you know things are gonna be ramping up on competitive side, on the number side, especially at a short track. People love the short track racing, Dustin. That's always been a staple of any kind of racing. No matter who you talk to, you go, "What's your number one thing?" And it's usually the big super speedway Daytona, or it's a Saturday night short track style event. So. These guys have a really short pace lap. Usually it's 2 laps. I think it's only 1 this time around. We'll have to see here for sure, but I don't see any pace lights or pace car lights on there, so they should be dipping down here real shortly. So no warm-up time. You're headed off into turn 4. Should see that pace car come down. No, actually, nope. It kind of fooled me. I don't see any lights, but he's going to take an extra lap. So they get 1 full lap to complete their circuit here. Then 200 laps, Dustin. What are you thinking early on?
Early on, I think these drivers are going to try to get a feel for these cars. You're going to see a lot of give and take early on in the race. Now, don't expect that give and take as the laps start winding down. You start getting to about 30 to go because these laps are going to tick by fast. But in the early stages, I do see a lot of give and take. Like you said, short track racing is what everybody loves. I grew up on it. Whether it's dirt short track racing, paved short track racing. Why? Because there's not a bad seat in the house and there's action all around the track, Jeremy.
Yeah, no matter what seat you have, you're going to see the entire track, unless you're on row 1 there in the grandstands, which I always advertise middle to upper is the best. But a short track, you have a little more leeway there. But green flag is out. Richie Coy does lead this 25-car field to the start-finish line as they head off into turn number 1. Richie Coy with an excellent start there with Nicholas Moreau. They're about 2 or 3 car lengths already gapping third place now. Brody Hannah. Fourth place falls Chuck Sweeting. And these guys are 2 by 2 the rest of the way back.
Yeah, 2 by 2 the rest of the way back. Like you said, the front 2 just gapping. Third and fourth place being Brody Hannah and Chuck Sweeting. But we got some side-by-side racing back there. You got the 14 of Lane Allen going on the inside of the, is that the 7 of Wayne Grossi? It is. Is that a new paint scheme, or did his skin just not load? I'm so used to seeing him in that yellow retro Pennzoil car, but it looks like that's a new paint scheme, Jeremy.
If you notice there too, it's a Gator Racing logo, so it looks like. I didn't see that in the initial notes, but is that a new teammate there with Chuck and Gil?
You know what? It is definitely looking that way. He is definitely sporting the same colors and same scheme as that 75 and that 85. So looks like Gator Racing picked up a good one, and that's a big pickup. Coming to the end of this season here, Wayne is always one that he's good on those long runs, and he has an excellent start right now, running 7. So car 7 and P7.
Yeah, and it's actually coming up across that topic. It's probably not too much of a surprise if you think about it. I mentioned in the pre-race there that there was a new system, a charter-like system, and essentially you have to buy the cars for your drivers. The drivers are free. The owner pays the money for the car, and so someone who's maybe by themselves, like Wayne Grossi Racing, maybe he's looking for a team. Maybe someone wants to fund his car for him. So to see a team swap and to kind of build the stable of Gator Racing to make it even better, Wayne definitely brings a lot of talent to this wherever he goes. So to make that a 3-car team now, I think that's going to be a team probably to watch in 2022 season.
Oh, absolutely. I would have to agree on that one there. And like you were talking about, that's that new charter system that they are doing. Drivers don't have to pay the entry, the team does. But what that means is drivers that are wanting to gain entry, they're either going to have to create their own team, or the easiest route is for some of these single car teams is just find a team that has the spot or, in their stable to pick you up. So I would definitely expect to see some more moving and shaking going on throughout the remainder of this season going into the start of 2022C.
Yeah, it's a complete different scenario that you'd see in a typical league setup. You just hop in and go. Pay your entry fee if you have one. But no, the system, it's kind of cool. I don't want to go too in depth with it, but I'm really excited of how it's laid out and how someone being a pioneer in that kind of perspective of trying something completely different than no other league's doing. And so it's a contract system too. So let's say I bring you onto the team, right? I can offer you 0% to 100% of the earnings each and every week. So I can give you more money, I can give you less money. So it's kind of like a performance evaluation, really. It's like I give you this, next season we can talk and I can offer you maybe a little bit more, cash, but it's ultimately up to the owner to pay the driver, which is basically what it is in real life. So to see it on the sim world at a stupid cheap price point, I think this is gonna be pretty fun for next season with this new system.
Yeah, and it definitely will. Always trying to be on the forefront of innovation when it comes to the racing sim. But as we were talking about the new charter system and team system, Nicholas Moreau had passed Richie Coy to take over that lead spot. But Jeremy, he has not gone very far because Richie Coy is only about a car length behind him right now. And guess what? These other drivers have also closed the gap up a little bit as well. So this race here definitely closed up. You see Brody Hannah peeking his nose back there behind his teammate. And right behind him, your championship points leader, Chuck Sweeting.
Yeah, I expect this 15 to really just take off here late in the run. But I'm going to watch this 23, even though he's been up here and winning some races a lot more frequently. Like you said, we always like to joke that he hates this car, but he always gets the job done. But
open air quotes used.
Very open air quotes, right? So the 23 usually charges up to the front and then falls off. But if you're seeing this 23 just kind of relaxed, kind of slowly approaching these guys, we might see a long run out of this 23 machine that we've not seen before. And maybe he'll get up there and pass, the 2 leaders up here, when the long run's over.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he needs. I mean, because every point counts from this point on to the season finale at Daytona. And right now, he's sitting one position ahead of your current points leader, Chuck Sweeting. So that's one additional point more that he's gaining on that. So if it would end as it sits right now, he would only be 19 points behind your current championship points leader. So these guys are points racing. You're going to see a different type of animal come out of some of these drivers, Jeremy, to where they're going to be points racing. But on the flip side, when it starts coming down to it and the laps are winding down, you're going to see them get pretty aggressive at times because they're going to try to maximize as much as what they can. So there's a lot that can be gained or lost right now, especially in this top 4. With Nicholas Moreau up there right now, he's definitely that wild card up there that can definitely put some separation between some of these drivers. But your next 3 all championship drivers, and rounding out your top 5 right now as we go back is Jonathan Varanoskis. Has a solid run right now going on for Rumble Racing. It started good. I mean, he started 6th place. He's up 1 position right now. And Jeremy, the car's looking pretty comfortable.
Yeah, no, it really does. And I was going through the field too, and I noticed we've seen this before. The first race that Fred Moreau showed up, I think it was Chicago. He didn't qualify or started really far in the back. I forget the situation, but then he won the race. He came through the field, charged super quick, and made it up there to the front and held on to it. And we're seeing that again kind of from Fred Moreau. Started 22nd up to 14th. So we're not even 20 laps into this thing, and he's already gained 8 positions. So that number 5, Fred Moreau from Moreau Racing, is definitely on the charge here to see if he can get some, a lot more quick spots than what he's already gotten. And maybe he'll catch a caution, or during the pit stop, he'll just change his strategy up a little bit. Maybe let the tires come into him, make a longer run effort out of it. Right now, he is moving real quick to the field.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing right now, Jeremy, is I'm seeing a lot of patience out of these drivers. I'm seeing a lot of give and take. They're not really getting close, not really putting a lot of pressure on. If somebody's got that run going into the corner, because it can be really easy to dive bomb these corners because you can try to outbrake that opponent to make that pass. I'm not really seeing that right now. So far, what my prediction was, these drivers definitely taking it easy here in the early stages. Again, we're only 20 laps in to this 200 lap full length event, so it's time's going to tell. I wouldn't expect it to stay like this, especially as those laps wind down, but right now, definitely a lot of give and take and respect out of these drivers.
Yeah, for the short track, I expected maybe some more side-by-side action, and I'm not really seeing any. I mean, the first cars I'm quickly glancing at, 17th and 18th, are side-by-side. Outside of that, these guys are single file for the most part, so it's hard to kind of steer away from your race lead. What I've noticed here is that 19, Richie Coy and Brody Hannah, they're a lot freer in the center of the corner. They're able to rotate, especially off of 3 and 4. They're able to rotate that car, gain a lot of ground on that 15, which is kind of choking up the 19 here, Richie Coy. He makes a really good drive into turn 3 as he does here in turn 4. He really gains a good amount of ground, not so much that time. But he makes that ground up. He has to get right to the back of the 15 and has to lift, or else he's going to run to the back bumper, which I've noticed the past 5 laps. It's really gotten his car loose, which tells me they got these things set up to rotate in the center as best as possible. And you're seeing it. The long run, the 15 looks a little tight. The 23's caught the 19, so they have some speed. But Chuck Sweeting as well, always there on the long run. He's starting to kind of move up through this gap here and try to get inside the top 3.
Yeah, and I've been noticing, too, that the 19 has been taking a lower approach into the corner entry than what the 15 did. Now, that lap there, they flip-flopped it, and the 15 tried that lower approach. You've seen how wobbly he got off that corner. But they're running these cars a lot different, a lot more different than what you would the trucks. The trucks, you typically try to take that more of that angled arc down, that later entry in here. But these cars have something those trucks don't. They have that extra gear that's in there as well. You can hear it right now on board with the 19 of Richie Coy. You can hear them downshifting in the corners from 5th down to 4th. And they'll get on the gas, and you'll hear them go from 4th back up to 5th again. So, again, that sequential transmission right now definitely coming in handy at these short tracks.
It is super handy, and it's a tool that these guys, you might not like to use it, but if it's an advantage, the guys are going to use it regardless. So, when you have 5 gears, your gear ratio is not as strong per gear, so you're able to get a nice little launch off the corner, shift it quickly into 5th, and let the gear do what it's thing until you get to the corner. Then you can throw it back down to 4th and do a little bit of gear braking as well. So multiple ways to use it. While you were talking there, Brody Hannah conceded the position to Chuck Sweeting. Chuck Sweeting's in 3rd, and now he's all over the rear bumper, the 19, which Richie's looking looser and looser almost every single lap. So he's unable to get the drive on the corner exit, which allows the 15 to keep his position. And then Chuck Sweeting, that car just looks super solid. I think if you can get it around the 19, he's going to get around that 15, no problem.
Yeah, it's, again, almost 30 laps into this run right now, so it definitely looks like the 75 of Chuck Sweeting. His car's definitely coming into him. His close rate on that 19 right now is ridiculous, and like you said, the 75 can get on the throttle a lot heavier than what the 19 of Richie Coy can, and that's allowing him to really pull up, and you can see how close he's getting right now to the back end of that 19. So, but we know the 75. Chuck he's a very respectful driver, and you're not going to see him really push the issue. What he's going to do is he's going to wait for that 19 to get loose a little bit, like that right there. Don't broadcast or curse me or anything, Richie. That wasn't the intention. But you've seen that just that little slip up, the 75 put his nose to the outside, and that set up that run to the inside. And as he goes on by, that is, I mean, textbook Chuck Sweeting right there. Just wait patiently and wait for that moment to happen.
And it never fails every week. That's why you call it textbook. You know what's going to happen. He gets to your bumper. He doesn't pass you. He just knows that you're going to make a mistake, and then he just eats you up when you do make it. So very strong move there by the 75, and he quickly gets to the back of that 15, which shows that speed that Chuck can carry around this track right now. 31 laps in. You see he gets right to the back bumper of that 15. It's just 15 struggling on corner center. He gets a great launch off, which kind of helps that separation for him to not get past. But that's corner center and even part of entry. He just can't get the rotation that these other guys can. Right here, Chuck actually makes a strong powerhouse move to the bottom. You don't see that. I just commented that he waits for you to make a mistake. This time, Chuck was like, I want it. I'm going to take it from you, and easily takes over first place.
Yeah, so Mark, the 75 of Chuck Sweeting up to the race lead, and that's not what some of these other drivers want to see. Because that puts him at the top spot right now. If the race would end, he is going to maximize the amount of points that he can get right now. So now you start to see drivers like Brody Hannah there trying to sit here, and it looked like he got a little loose coming out of the corner, but he made a pass on his teammate of Richie Coy there, marking him up to that third spot, and he's trying to chase down the 15. Jeremy, it looks like the 15 of Nicholas Moreau, his car is not as fast as it was at the start. So that's got me a little worried here and wondering, does he have a long run car? Is he trying to cool those tires off a little bit, or what's going on? I mean, as it sits right now, based off of what I see, I would definitely say that there's going to be some needed, he's loose off of turn 4. There's definitely going to be some needed setup changes when they come down for pit.
Yeah, he's got a lot of variables here. I think the run's going to be about 70, 80 laps before they have to pit. And we're only on lap 35, so if he's tight now and struggling to get any speed in center and even entry, just imagine in 20 or 30 laps from now, that car's going to be just wicked tight, not going to be able to do anything with it. And you see him falls to the 23, the 19, going to quickly take that spot as well. And even the 14, Lane Allen, coming back with a pretty good run here. He's going to try to pop himself into 4th place here, as they all single filed out right there. This only allowed Chuck Sweeting, Dustin. He's already got a 1.5 lead over 2nd place. That car is sailing with that clean air and how well the thing's performing. Chuck might, he's throwing that threat there for the 19, saying, hey, you're going to need to pick up your pace if you want your championship.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's only helping him out that these, the next 4, 2nd through 5th are battling out the way they are. I mean, Jeremy, there for about 2.5 laps, you could throw a blanket over them, and heck, even a couple of them you still can, as you see the 14 of Lane Allen looking on the inside of the 15. Nicholas Moreau and that Moreau Motorsports entries definitely fallen back now from his 2nd place starting spot after he led that at least the first 20 laps of this event.
Yeah, I noticed he's getting a little bit of tire spin on corner exit too. So now it's like the really tricky part, right? You're really tight in entry and center, and then you're loose off sometimes depending on how much throttle you give it. That's, you have no drive in, so you're slow. And then you get the corner exit, you can't get on the gas pedal. That's just, he gives up the 14 right now the 47 right at Hendrick. He's about to take advantage of him. So this is the first time we've seen a weakness on the long run side when it comes to Moreau here. Looks like his teammate, Mr. Fred Moreau, hanging on to 13th place as well. So I think the 5's got this thing more figured out than the 15. But yeah, right now that 15 is dropping back in a hurry. 3.5 seconds behind Chuck Sweeting. He was leading 10 or 15 laps ago. So you can just see that big fall off. Yeah.
Huge fall off right now. He's going to come under attack from the 47 to Ryan Hedrick. And I tell you what, Jeremy, if you remember back to the 2022 A season, those short tracks seem to be the kryptonite of that 47 team. They were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's where they had such a good run. They had the points lead going in, and they just hit that string. And I can't tell you how good it is to see that 47 car up here running right now. Just made a pass to take over that 5th spot, locking him into the top 5 right now for the first time tonight. So it definitely looks like that team has definitely got things kind of swayed around and flip-flopped in whole 180. I wouldn't want to be in that situation again for the second season in a row. So whatever they're doing, he needs to keep doing it because it's working.
Yeah, Boomerang Motorsports in general have shown an overall improvement, more consistent on the different variety of tracks that they go to. It's great to see him
this season.
Yeah, 1 victory. So, they got at least one in each. And they had a lot more in season 1 or A. But 47 right now, sitting in 5th place. He's actually gaining on Layton Allen here for 4th. So, like you said, really glad to see the 47 doing well on a short track. And if this continues and they continue to make that move, when they hop into 2022C, it's a shorter season. But, with the momentum that they're kind of building up on, it might pose for a nice little championship battle at the end of the year out.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it's gearing up to be. You see the 15 fell back again, the 33 of Sherwood Williford, and that bright orange and black Chevy had moved himself up in the 6th spot. Now that 91 car back behind him, that is the entry of Justin Diltz. He had to come down to the service of his crew, so he is currently scored a couple laps down right now, but out there on fresh tires, so you can see the difference right there. You're getting a glimpse of it right now, how it's going to be when we start cycling through green flag pit stops, Jeremy, of what these fresh tires can do compared to 46 lap old tires.
Yeah, just to kind of give you that idea, you guys are in high 22, low 23 second lap times. And right now they're at the low 24 second lap time. So it's just about a second disadvantage each and every lap versus the new tires at this time at 46 laps into the event. So, and then that's based off the average of the top 5 as far as lap times go currently. So yeah, there is a huge difference. And I think that if the green flag runs, it goes about 780 laps, which their guys are sometimes even make it close to 100. Some guys like to try to clutch it and extend it, but typically this is going to be a 2-stop race, especially with the tire wear. I don't see anyone going for
15 and Nicholas Moreau sliding in around there. We were just talking about how far. Sorry to cut you off, Jeremy. Just caught that glimpse there in the camera. So he is definitely coming down to the service of his crew. That is an unfortunate event that took place there.
Yeah, you cut me off the grip on his tires cut him off in turn number 2. It almost looked like the front of the car got loose because his nose dove to the bottom of the track in a hurry. But yeah, that car was just falling off really bad. So yeah, he needs to make these adjustments. Hopefully he had that set up prior, or even if he has a crew chief, hopefully they had to make the changes correctly because that car needs some wholesale changes.
Yeah, excellent save, though. That could have been a whole lot worse. I mean, he sat here and kept it off the inside wall, kept it down on the apron, didn't bring it back up into traffic, so that could have been a whole lot worse than what it was, but definitely going to cost that 15 crew right now. That's not what they wanted. No caution come out, so you know as well as I do, you come down pit road at Richmond like that, get 4 fresh tires, you fill that puppy up with fuel, you know you're going down about 2 laps.
Kyle Milliken coming down here to the service of his crew. It looks like on lap 50, ran outside the groove a corner before and made a cut down here, so that's 3 cars now that we've seen make pit stops. That's a stretch, you know. You only have a certain amount of tires here. I think it's 4 total. So you're first on lap 50. That's it's a quarter of the way. You're going to be right at your mark there. What you got?
Oh, big accident going into the corner. Huge accident. Caution is out. Oh yeah, they're just continuing on. This is a huge. Oh my goodness! So this all started. It looked like there was a. Jeez, I mean these things.
Yeah, the 37 just went in there, and I don't know if sim racing. You don't have brakes that fail, but he definitely missed the mark on his braking in turn number 1. Just got to the back of the 85, and Richmond has that wall right there, and he did not clear it in time. And you need to come back up the track, Dustin. You know where to go.
Oh no, and that was a hard lick too from Gil Gawk, because we're going to sit here and go on board with him. You're going to see him nail this inside. I mean, just hard. And you see all the cars behind him, they just start piling up as it just blocks the track. There's just nowhere to go. And then the rest of the cars coming in, I mean, it just continual pile. That was a tough one, Jeremy. We had a couple of them back there that got involved in that one as well.
Yeah, there's I counted 8 total cars involved in this one. Rumble Racing came in late, and a couple of them got hit. Fred Moreau making that huge charge to the field. He had to squeeze the gap there between Stephen Lou Allen and the 37 to Dublé. A little bit of damage on both sides of that machine. Steve Loomis involved, Martin Garreau, looks like Joshua Johnson, Gil Gawk, even Tony Solari too.
Oh,
so that's just
so close.
Huge amount of cars, but that's right at that, like I said, that's where that wall's at, where there's no forgiveness in that little section of the front stretch toward turn 1.
Yeah, and I mean, Martin Garreau tried to split that gap so hard. You see on board, Tony Solari just got creamed on that left side out of nowhere. You're going to see Martin Garreau almost split that gap right there, just couldn't quite get it, clipped the 24 Stephen Lou Allen's back end. So just carnage all over the place, Jeremy, and that's the unfortunate thing with short tracks, is once an accident happens, if there's cars that are on the track, that track is nothing but blocked.
It for sure is, and actually I was going back and look at the replay to see exactly what caused that. 37 Brian Dublé did not miss his braking mark. It looked like Gil Gawk just hit the brakes a lot earlier than anybody else would typically on the front stretch. He had so much more straightaway in front of him, but did go about 5 or 6 mile an hour slower than everybody else. And that's in a place where Brian Dublé did not expect it to happen, could not get on the binders in time, and that's what sent the 85 into the inside wall. So I don't know if the 85 was just feeling uncomfortable, maybe with a loose setup entering the corner, but he took it super easy into that corner, and that's what caused that melee.
Yeah, unfortunate event, but I mean, it doesn't take much, Jeremy. I know you've put a lot of laps in at this track here, with it being last week, last week now. It's all switched over to Kentucky for C Open. I put in a number of laps, just like our good friend Scott Martin from Martin Sports has put in a lot. By the way, speaking of Martin Sports, be sure you check out martinsports906.com. Super nerd, 25% off. Get you all kinds of gear that you can at an excellent price. Top-notch quality all the way around, breathable, and one of the best and nicest staff that you could ever do business with. So check them out, martinsports906.com. But as I was saying, Scott Martin, we put in a lot of laps here at Richmond pulling this, and I mean, at times it's almost like you get that brain freeze on there where you've been hitting the brakes so many times going in, and you'll either overdrive the corner, hit the brakes too late, or you'll underdrive the corner and you'll hit them too early, and that could have very well been what happened here.
Yeah, and I can, I have raced a lot of Richmond. I have, not saying that, but we got a green flag here, so we're going to cut back to green flag. But as it entered turn number 1, I was going to say Concord was one of those tracks too, another short track. It just takes full concentration. You just forget reality, right? You forget cues, this and that. And so things happen that way, but I want to kick it to the live action here. 75, the 19, the 2 front runners in the championship, and then third place in points. Brody Hannah, third place on the track as well. These 3 guys running 1, 2, 3, all for the points here. So they're really not trying to give each other any buffers, trying to do what they can. But right now, 19, the Richie Coy, sitting the best spot in the house, P1.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he needs to do. You can't get any better than that right now. And what he's seeing in his mirror, he's loving to see that 75 going back 1 position, and his teammate Brody Hannah gaining 1 position. That now puts 2 points out of that 6-point difference spread. Is now both drivers have already led a lap today as well, so those bonus points cancel each other out. So if they would end right now, Richie Coy would only be 4 points off of that lead of Chuck Sweeting. So again, that is how close this point battle is, and it's going to be all night long as these drivers are running as close as what they are, Jeremy.
Yeah, just a quick mention too from that wreck there that happened a few laps ago. Fred Moreau, hard charger to the field, had to back out. Too much damage done to that number 5 Chevrolet. Gil Gauck, the 85, that got put into the inside wall, also has to retire from the race. 2 guys exited from that wreck. A lot of other guys still had some damage, need to be worked on. Tony Solari, 8 laps down. Brian Dublé, 8 laps down. So these guys, a huge setback. I don't know if that's going to be recoverable, but so you got a lot of guys lapped down in front of them, all the way up to 17th place out of the 25 cars that initially started. But I want to make a mention too, Wayne Grossi in that newly painted Gator Racing Chevrolet there. He's up 6 spots from his qualifying time, I think. Actually, no, I read that wrong. He's up to 8th place though. He was running mid-pack, and now he's running about 8th place. It looks like he's found some speed from that caution there. Made some couple adjustments to that car, and it's looking pretty good at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there was a lot of drivers, Jeremy, that while they come down pit road, definitely probably made some adjustments to these cars. These cars are a very rigid car when you go to these short tracks here. So a lot of these times, these guys, is the 47 at Hedrick got wicked loose coming out of the corner there. Out of turn 2, but a lot of these drivers, really the first time they've been here and really raced hard at this one, so expect them to make a lot of changes. And with the dynamic weather that's going on, I mean, this track temperature goes up, track temperature goes down. That's going to affect the way that this car handles. So, Jeremy, these drivers got to be on the ball when it comes to making these adjustments, and they have to be quick about it as well if they want to be out there and stay competitive. Yeah,
speaking of weather out there, the track obviously has been starting a lot harder than what it finishes. And it was about 112 when these guys came down pit road, and now it's down to 107. So a drastic little 5-degree change, which, 5 degrees might not sound much in a certain perspective, but in temperature world, like, that means a lot. That means your car's gonna get a little tighter, gonna maybe feel a little grippier to some, maybe feel like it's too tight for some. So it might change the landscape of how this race runs. But right now, 23 and the 19 being the class of the field at the moment. 75, don't count him out. He drops back a little bit early, but he should be making his charge up to the field, not through the field, but through these 2 guys up front. Back to the 14 and now the 33. This is the first time we've seen the 33 crack the top 5. He's been kind of sitting there. He started 10th, 5 spots since the opening green flag. Sherwood Williford putting his name into the picture.
Yeah, and we had a little bit of contact going into that corner a lap ago. The 27 got a little bit of help from the 67 behind entering that corner. Almost looked very reminiscent of what happened with Gil Gauck. Sent the 27 of Varanoskis into the wall, allowing Wayne Grossi to get by, allowed James Wallace to get by, and Alex Murphy. So that one, definitely a costly bit of contact as they enter in turn 1.
Yeah, I was actually going back. I did not catch that, so that's a good catch on your part. And yeah, going back and looking at it, I that one I can't tell if the one was too late on the brake or one was not. It looks like 6-7 might have been too late, considering how the 27 just went into that corner and had to go all the way up to the wall. So these guys they're going back to what your theory was just a little bit ago. You just kind of lose, conscious on what you're doing exactly every single moment of the race. And one little mistake like that, default to somebody else. And thankfully the 27 didn't get much damage at all. Just kind of scraped the outside wall. He's continuing, but could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it definitely could have been a lot worse, but I mean, that's how easy it is. I mean, and it's just with as fast as these cars are going around this track, it doesn't take but just a split second later on that brake pedal, and it's going to throw your whole corner entry off. And leave it to be if there happens to be a driver in front of you when you just are that split second off that brake pedal like that. And we've seen the remnants of that happen, so far this race, Jeremy. It does not take much. There's a lot of concentration that goes into these. Even with being on the iRacing simulation software platform, there's still a lot of concentration that goes into it, just like the real guys.
100%. And about 6 laps ago, while we're kind of discussing that little incident there in turn 1, Brody Hannah, that 23, has taken the top spot from Richie Coy, and he's got about a 3 car length advantage on that 19. 75 Gil Gauck still about 10 car lengths back at most, just kind of waiting his turn for his tires to come in. But going back to 4th and 5th, these guys starting to fall off a little bit, so it's more down to the 3 championship contenders than anything else. The next group of cars is 7th, 8th, and 9th here. looks like with, or 6th, 7th, and 8th rather, with Williford, 47 to Hedrick, the 7 of Wayne Grossi, and 67 to James Wallace. 14 kind of in his own little spot there in between these two groups of cars.
Yeah, and I do believe you mean the 75 of Chuck Sweeting. You said Gil Gawk on that one there. Just giving Gil a little bit more of a shout out. Hopefully his healing hopefully his healing after his surgery is going well. Probably not the end that he wanted, but we're glad to see him back either way. But yeah, like you said, the 14 right now is kind of in that center island. He's in between these this lead pack right now, the top 3 championship contenders being Hannah, Coy, and Sweeting. But he can't let off right now. Sherwood Williford is right behind him, and I tell you what, this next little pack here, I mean, it's being Sherwood and Hedrick, and even Wayne Grossi's kind of still peeking his nose in there a little bit. But Wayne's coming under a little bit of pressure right now from the 67 to James Wallace. So this next set of 4 going from Sherwood all the way back to James Wallace, very close, Jeremy. A lot of good racing and battling going on.
Yeah, and James Wallace actually, if you notated, 23rd is where he started in this race. He's up to 8th. So a little assistance from that caution. He also made some changes for the better. And you're seeing that number 67 benefit from that, being currently 8th place. That's a lot of spots gained there. And he's looking pretty good, and I haven't seen much movement in that car other than that contact with 27. Looks like the 7's starting to fall off a little bit, which, I mean, that's hit or miss. You got a new team, so you might have some new toys to play with. But so he's kind of learning, figuring it out. I know he's really fast here. He'll get that figured out, no problem. But see the 67 run a little bit higher, too, trying to make a pass on the high side. You don't see that too often, especially with these next-gen cars. It almost seems like they prefer the lower group.
Yeah, and he has made a couple passes already. He's going to try the inside this time, poking his nose on there. I tell you what, that spec mapping on those Gator Racing cars, that is so sexy, though. I love it. They did an excellent job. But he has made a couple passes on that outside, though, on his way up. And, I mean, if you can set the car up right for it, you could definitely do it. But like you said, I haven't seen much of it in these next-gen cars like that. So for him to be able to do that on his way up here to pass the 7 of Wayne Grossi right now to put himself up in the 7th spot, that tells you what type of car he's got. So we're 80 laps in. We still got 120 laps to go, Jeremy. Still a lot of time. James Wallace, he's definitely on the move.
Speaking of on the move, this past 5 laps or so, Mr. Chuck Sweeting in that 75 is starting to catch back up. This is his typical story about this point in the race. You know he's going to be here, and he's gained about 6 car lengths, and he really drives in then turn number 1 that time. Gets about a car length from Brody Hannah. And now he's going to play the patient game. He's going to wait for that 23 to maybe slip up in the center of the corner. Who knows? Typically how he does the thing, as we've notated. But the 19's actually got a lot better run, Mr. Richie Coy. About this time of the run, that first run, he was wicked loose. Right now, I haven't seen much wiggling from the 19, so a little tightening up, and all of a sudden that thing's it's a fast machine right now.
Yeah, and like you said, on top of that, we also had a 5-degree drop in track temperature, which also helped that out a little bit. Getting a hot and sticky, slippery track. So 19 is definitely a lot more stable than what he was. But like you said, this is about that time we see the 75 of Chuck really start to come on strong. He's got to give his tires usually about 30 laps or so, and he really starts coming on, and it appears that way because he doesn't fall off near as much. A lot of the other drivers will go up there, will heat their tires up. You see the 23 drift up on that one there. You're going to see Chuck Sweeting go on the inside. Going to be a side-by-side drag race going down that backstretch right now, going off in the turn 3. You're going to see the 23 of Brody Hannah back off on that one there and yield it to the 75, but like I said, a lot of the times they will use their stuff up and really heat their tires up, and that's when the 75 comes on strong. It doesn't seem like he really burns or heats his stuff up near as bad as some of these other drivers.
Yeah, I couldn't tell personally if the 23 went up high to let the 75 go or if he just overshot the corner entry. Either way, the 23 he's been very alert on the track. He's been letting people by as needed. Even though his teammate Richie Coy, who's going for that points battle, he needs 6 points over Chuck. So that 23 could have played a little bit of a teamwork scenario, but respectful end, you find at full throttle. He still looks like gave that position up, no problem. Didn't pinch him into the corner, nothing like that. Just kind of, you realize the corner wasn't there. That 75 passed through, so it's going to drop the 23 back to third. Big drop fall off there, about already almost 10 car lengths separates the 75 and the 23, and that 14 Lane Allen still making a little bit of a charge here as he's looking for third.
Yeah, Lane Allen starting to chase down the 23 of Brody Hannah, but don't look behind you either there, Lane, because you got that 33 of Sherwood Williford, who is keeping pace right now with the 14. So he has separated himself from the 47 of Ryan Hedrick, and he's trying to chase down to get up here. And again, that is your top five right now. Richie Coy, Chuck Sweeting still leading the way with those two. Chuck trying to chase down Richie for that Richie and Chuck show. Brody Hannah in third spot right now, kind of in between these two packs, and the two packs being fourth place Stephen Allen, and fifth place rounding that out again with Sherwood Williford, Ryan Hedrick back there battling it out with his Boomerang Motorsports teammate right now of James Wallace. Again, James Wallace already has a win tally on the season this far, but excellent running for Boomerang right now, running 6th and 7th. Wayne Grossi, that new Gator Racing entry, running a solid top 10 right now in 8th. Nicholas Moreau, after that first run incident that he had there, an excellent save where he saved it from going back up on the track or hitting the inside wall, finds himself right now in that 9th position. He is down 7 spots from his starting, but he's in a much better position right now than what he was prior to that caution coming out. And rounding out your top 10 right now, up to a race high right now for the night is the 44 of Chris Beck.
I'm kind of observing the 15's lap times too. I want to see if he's made that wholesale change that he was desperately needing. And his fall off on his lap times have improved. So as this run continues, let's see when they decide to pit. I don't know what the strategy looks like. It could be just one more stop. I would think, depending on how the tire wear scenario is looking. We've seen a lot of drivers cut down before lap 50. So maybe the tire was a little bit worse off in these next-gen cars here at Richmond. But he's still continuing to make his way through the field. He's passing Wayne Grossi now for 8th place, or at least trying to make that pass happen. That car's just so much faster than the 7 at the moment. Does make that pass happen. Looks like in turn number 1 will complete that. But actually, I want to go back here to... No, never mind, yeah. It looks like Richie Coy... I got sidetracked by something there, but Richie Coy is kind of still pulling away from Chuck Sweeting a little bit, even, on this long run continues to go through. It just looks like that 19 made a great change to that Ford Mustang and is still able to rotate the center without getting that loose off corner that we saw that first run. So this is going to be a really strong run here toward the end of this race between these two guys.
Yeah, as it normally is, Jeremy. I mean, we always talk about the Chuck and Richie show, but Chuck, still trying to chase him down. But Richie at the moment looking to try to, put his second tally up for the season up on that board right now. Nicholas Moreau leads the season in wins with 3. Person who is running second right now, that black and blue number 75. In second place right now with wins with 2. Richie trying to get that number 3 as we do have a caution out on the track. Looks like it's going to involve the 0-2 of Josh Mayu.
0-2 Josh Mayu and the 44 of Chris Beck entering turn number 1. It seems to be that hot corner here for cautions. Looks like the 44 came down onto the nose of the 0-2. I guess he didn't realize he was going to be there and just kind of came across the nose, spun the 44 and the 0-2 out. That's going to bring out the second caution this evening.
Yeah, unfortunate event. Good thing is, though, is caution came out, but no other drivers were involved. They kept it off the wall. They didn't get any other drivers involved. So both of these drivers, Jeremy, by the way that it looks, should have no issue whatsoever being able to get back into good racing contention right now, as we've got leaders and everybody coming down pit road for the to the service of their crew.
And this is going to basically put him right at halfway. We're at lap 96. When we go back to green flag, it should be like right at around 100. So it's got halfway through this event once they go back to in green flag conditions. But this is going to be a pretty money stop here. For the most part, we've seen a lot of people hit their marks just fine. I think I think this is a very important stop. You want the track position. You want to be able to do what you got to do. Does someone maybe take 2 tires knowing that they have to make one more stop before this race is over? Probably not, but I mean, we've seen some weirder things happen, but looks like everyone's coming down. Everyone hit their marks just fine. We'll see what happens as they exit pit road.
Yeah, so like you said, very important pit stop right now because track position here, even though it's a short track, is going to be very important. But it does look like your top 3 stayed exactly the same. You're going to see a little bit of a shakeup on the 4th and 5th position right now, with Sherwood Williford is going to gain a spot, mark him up to P4. Lane Allen is going to lose a spot on pit road, drop him back to P5. And then you're going to see Ryan Hedrick. See, man, I was doing good, Jeremy. I had not been putting that crazy little N in Ryan's last name for so long. And then I come back. I blame KB because he wasn't here. That's why I did that. But Ryan Hedrick up to P6 right now. So he's, he's holding right where he was at. Moreau, mark him up to P7. He gained one over the 67 to James Wallace. And look at Stephen Lou Allen up to P9 after being involved in that earlier wreck. And Wayne Grossi going to round out your top 10.
Yeah, might as well use Kenny up since he's not here, right? I would definitely do the same thing.
Absolutely.
100%. If you're watching KB, if you happen to tune in, that's all fun. Yeah, no, this is going to be set up great. I think Williford's going to put on a strong run here, getting that 4th place. That puts him only in road number 2 on the outside, so he might make a little bit of an early charge, once the green flag does drop. So I'm kind of curious how the 33 is going to perform. I'm also kind of curious to see what Brody Hannah has in store. The first 2 runs now, the long run's not been there for that 23. So if he can get that car to run a little more consistent, he might be there with that 19 to contend for 2nd place and maybe even the win. Who knows? I know these teammates have very similar setups across the board, so it would not surprise me if maybe they keyed in a little bit of an assistance there for that 23.
Yeah, now my question is, and I would love to have somebody down on pit road right now to see exactly what changes a 75, if any, made to that setup there. Seeing how strong that 19 was on that last run, the Gator Racing 75 team is going to have to do something to try to close that gap to give Chuck any chance to go up there and try to capitalize and gain at least a point.
And we're going to find out here. Pace car's down. This is going to start lap 101, so exactly halfway completed with this 200-lap race. Great start by the 19. Gets a really good advantage over the 75. 23 is going to be right to the back bumper of the 75. As the top 3 quickly go single file out. Do the 33 on the top here, 4th. Trying to make a good run off corner exit. Just had a little bit of a check up there on the far exit side of the corner. And the 47 Hedrick really shoots up the track. Almost looked like he was going to try to go 3 wide. Has to back out, just too tight up there. But it is 3 wide with him now in the 67 and Nicholas Moreau in the 15. Still 3 wide entering 1.
Yeah, still 3 wide there. The 47 Smart backs out of that situation, but these guys are still trying to go right now. Mark Lane Allen, the 14, up to P4, but 3 wide here in just 2 lanes between Williford, Wallace, and Moreau as they're banging off of each other's doors coming out. All drivers keep it straight, though. They're still 3 wide, Jeremy, going into turn 1. These drivers really hanging it out there. Mark Moreau finally clears the 33 and the 67, but right now the 67 of Wallace and the 33 of Williford still side by side. They're 2x2 right now, Jeremy.
That moves the 15 up, I think, a spot or 2. The 67 and the 33 still making contact down the straightaway. They were 3 wide for an entire lap here at Richmond, which is pretty impressive alone. That does move Nicholas Moreau up to P5 as the top 5 now have kind of single filed out. Looks like 7th and 8th are still a little bit of a side-by-side action going on. So that little heated little start of the 3rd restart of the race has basically concluded, at least from the side-by-side action goes. But man, that was a pretty wild restart there, Dustin.
Yeah, that's I can honestly tell you that was not a restart that I was expecting. But man, what a show. 3 wide for a solid lap, and it wasn't 3 wide from the bottom to the top of the track, Jeremy. They were only utilizing those first 1.5 to 2 lanes. That was it, and they were 3 wide. Beating and banging coming off of turn 4 down the curved front stretch. I tell you what, that was some damn good racing for sure.
Yeah, it kind of just really showed you how important that restart was going to be for these guys. They wanted to get all the spots possible as they could. It worked out great for that 15 who's trying to recover from that just terrible car there on the first stint of the race. Just could not hold on to it, got loose, had to pit before lap 50. Now he's back in the top 5, working on the 14's rear bumper, trying to get into 4th. So hopefully that long run setup comes in and they puts on a battle for these guys. But since these guys have already restarted and we're about 7 or 8 laps into this thing, usually about the halfway point, we do like to thank our sponsors visually. So we're going to go picture-in-picture mode here with a commercial break. We'll be right back with you guys here in just a few short minutes.
The vibration in this car is the worst vibration that I've ever had, and the shifter's broken again.
Are you ready to chase the moonlight? Community-based and talent-driven, Moonlight Speed Concepts has what you need to take your iRacing experience to the next level. Founded by passionate owners that care about the community and housing some of the top setup builders and drivers on the platform, Moonlight Speed Concepts offers custom paints, driver coaching, and setups for dirt, asphalt short track racing, and eNASCAR competition. Partnered with top brands in both real world and simulation. Follow us on Facebook or visit moonlightspeed.com and find out why these businesses chase the moonlight and why you should too. Moonlight Speed Concept, where all we chase is moonlight.
Racing Mach1 Performance Cup Series, and you're on board here essentially with the top 3 or 4 guys as they're trying to hash out for the race lead and the points lead, for that matter. As the top 3 are still the top 3 contenders in the points race with 3 races to go, including this one. So 2 weeks after this one will conclude the race, or the championship. 4th place, though, Mr. James Wallace has kind of snuck in there. Was involved in that caution the first third of the race, and now he's here with a really strong run. He's found some grip, some momentum in that number 67 machine, and he's creeping to the back bumper of the 23, and also 75 of Chuck Sweeting has not kind of laid back this run. He's been on the tail of the 19 since his restart, Dustin.
Yeah, it really has. And like I said, I mean, you could see how these drivers now they're all just single file. They're stretching it out. 123 laps into the 200 lap distance for this event right now. This is where you're going to start seeing the players really start showing some of the cards that they hold in their hands right now. You see, of course, Richie and Chuck. I mean, they've got a decent gap right now, about a 5-car length gap on 3rd place of Brody Hannah. James Wallace has not let off, though. The pressure on that 23 is still there. Lane Allen and Nicholas Moreau, those guys have been going nose and nose, neck and neck pretty much since the commercial break took place, and they have not left each other, barely a car length in between them.
Yeah, 14 got around the 15 and has not let it up since. This is battle for the top 5 right now. Nicholas Moreau wants to get up there and put a 4th notch in that win column. He's the only driver with 3 wins this season, but right now the 14s get him a struggle to get around, as their 14 is really strong and looks like 3 and 4, 15 a little bit better than entrance of 1. So they're basically dead even at this point. 67 James Wallace starting to fall back, maybe just a touch with the 23 of Brody Hannah. And Richie Coy in the 19 has found a little bit of extra speed the past few laps and is really rotating that center of the corner a lot better than the 75, which is enabling that 19 of Richie Coy to make that ground.
Yeah, and I was wondering how this was going to go, up to 0.7 of a second split between Richie Coy and Chuck Sweeting right now. And I was wondering how Chuck was going to be able to hang with Richie, because we typically don't see him putting a lot of pressure on early on like that. We see him let that car come to him, and with him putting that much pressure on at the early stages, right after that, the round of pit stops under caution, I was beginning to wonder exactly what was going to go on. But at the same time, Chuck Sweeting may be holding off, letting those tires cool off and trying to conserve and save a little bit as well. I mean, there's a lot of strategies, Jeremy, that even us up in the broadcast booth here, we just are not fully aware of, and pretty much until the checkered flag drops.
Yeah, for me, it's just drive the car until it gets tight, and then I have to fight it until I get to pit road. That's usually how my race goes, no matter what I try to plan for. Somehow these guys have it figured out, and they're doing it at the fast rate. They're doing crazy amount of speed compared to their competitors right now, and they're still able to kind of manage their tires at the same time, which is pretty impressive stuff. Nonetheless, 75, I noticed, got really loose there on the exit of turn number 2. So that 75 starting to experience a little bit of handling issues, which is probably the other reason why the 19 is able to prevail out there. About, what do you say, about 10 to 12 car lengths at this point? Yeah,
and he also got a little loose coming off. I seen a little bit of scribble there coming off of turn 4 as we got a battle right now. Oh, contact was made as they were coming down, or at least it looked like it was, but both drivers, being the 15 of Moreau and the 14 of Allen, able to maintain. Jeremy, that could have been a whole lot worse than what it actually was.
Man, yeah, that was dangerous there. 14 gets loose off corner exit with a little bit of tire spin. Clips the 15 in the right rear, but quick reaction time by Nicholas Moreau to turn left to avoid the outside wall. Excellent driving to keep that car straight, but it allows that 33 of Sherwood Williford to pick up 2 spots on the backstretch. Going to move him inside the top 5.
Yeah, inside the top 5, and now he is all over the back bumper of the 33 of Sherwood Williford, who gained spots there after that little contact exchange between the 15 and 14. Again, not intentional contact. The 14 definitely had tire spin coming off the corner. and just ended up making a little bit of contact, but the 33 was able to get back. But now 15 and Nicholas Moreau starting to fight back, trying to regain that position to put him back in the top 5.
I think the 14 was kind of his hindrance there a little bit. Let's see if he can get around to 33 this time. I know the 15 was a little bit faster than the 33 as he was starting to tail off a little bit, so this should be a little bit of an easier scenario. We see that white car number 67. He's starting to fall off a little bit more now off the 23. As he's just struggling to get off turn 2 especially. It looks like he just has to wait for that throttle and wait until you basically get to the actual straightaway section of the backstretch. So it's on the 23 to propel even further ahead. The leaders have really spaced out, so the action really is battle for this top 5 here. As there goes Nicholas Moreau, gets around the 33 of Sherwood Williford to claim 5th spot. And on the 14 has his eyes set to get back around that 33 as well.
Yeah, and like you said, the top 4 really spaced out right now going through the field. 19 of Richie Coy still leading the way. 1.8 second lead gap over that man right there, Chuck Sweeting, who runs 2nd. These are your championship contenders right now. Chuck leading it, running in 2nd. Richie Coy leading this race, trying to chase down and kind of reel in that 6-point gap between him and Chuck Sweeting. So again, more than just the race going on, there's a championship race as well. 23 of Brody Hannah sitting in 3rd. He has been there pretty much the entire race so far, Jeremy, going from between 1st and 4th. That is where he has been riding. Very strong car for that 23 as it sits right now, 137 laps in. James Wallace, you mentioned him before, had a real strong start there at the start of this run once the restart actually took place. But has fallen off a little bit, still holding in that 4th position, but right now has to look in that mirror for that man. Driver of that number 15, Nicholas Moreau, got by into the top 5, now trying to chase him down a little bit, so he's definitely got to start hitting his marks a little bit. Sherwood Williford in that 33, running a very clean race right now, running in 6th spot. Up 4 positions from his 10th place starting spot, so again has been clean, and right now is kind of sitting in between the 15 of Moreau and the 14 of that man right there, Lane Allen, who we seen him in the 15 have a real close call coming off of turn 2 there, but was able to regain it back up, but still running in that 7th spot solidly in that top 10. 47 of Ryan Hedrick, running a good clean race right now, down 1 spot from his 7th place starting spot, but still in the top 10. And you know what, Jeremy, he's probably not going to mind that at all, especially after the short track run he had last season. This is definitely a 180 turnaround on that, so solid run for that boomerang entry of Ryan Hedrick. Wayne Grossi right now, again, that's a new Gator Racing teammate that kind of slipped in under the radar, running right now in P9. Just got passed by that man, the 24 of Stephen Lou Allen, for 9th place. Stephen Lou Allen up to 9th, and both of them just got passed by that number 10, that lap down car of Milliken out there with fresh tires, so just passed both of them. So again, Mark Lou Allen 9th and Wayne Grossi in 10th. Again, solid run for those drivers as we got the 67 of James Wallace hitting pit road, Jeremy.
That's the rundown through the top 10 nerds in this race. And yeah, 6-7 down pit road. And James Wallace taking that early stop here compared to everybody else in the field. See if he can take advantage of a 4 Goodyear tires and then maybe make a slight more adjustment to get that thing running to try to contend for that win. Track position has been proven to be a little more challenging than some other tracks. So if you can get it, this is a great opportunity for the 67 of James Wallace. We've seen him do this once before, and it's paid off well for him. So would not be surprised if this gains him at least a spot here, as we got about 59 laps to go in this event. So we'll have to see. We'll see if the leaders kind of quickly follow suit or if they stick to their strategies.
Yeah, and right now the strategy for that 19 crew is keep doing what you're doing, Richie. Out to a 2.6 second lead right now over that of Chuck Sweeting. Jeremy, since this restart, I don't know what changes that 19 crew has made to that Ford Mustang, but this thing has evolved into a straight rocket ship. We knew he had a piece under him taking that pole time, but it was a little sketchy on that first run before pit stops hit. So seeing him out here now, Jeremy, he's out to almost a 3-second lead, just about ready to crack 3 seconds. But it looks like he's got a little bit of connection issue here, blinking a little bit.
Yeah, he came back to me, but yeah, that's always scary when you see a car temporarily go disappearing off the screen. But looks like he's back and he's just fine. We just don't need to see any more of that. I'm sure 19 Richie, if he sees that on his latency bar, if he sees it turn yellow or red, he's probably, his heart probably sinks a little bit. But looks like he's good to go. Almost a 3-second lead over his teammate Brody Hannah. So this car has been doing some things since that last pit stop. He found the magic key, he's used it, and that car is taking off right now.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he's doing. And as you talked about, over a 3-second lead over his teammate Brody Hannah right now. Brody Hannah got around the 75 of Chuck Sweeting. So, Jeremy, Chuck Sweeting is about ready to fall to the clutches of the 15 of Nicholas Moreau. So, Chuck Sweeting having the very same thing happen to him that Nicholas Moreau had in that very first run after the drop of the green flag, starting to go the wrong way, which is not what he's wanting, because more cars in between him and that number 19 means more points that 19 is going to gain. And Jeremy, there's not that many points in between that he can spare.
It looks like the 15 also found the magic key as far as the long run goes. This car at this point would just be completely off the rails, but right now it is showing some late run speed for sure. 47 right ahead there coming down pit road. You got a little loose end entrance there. Ooh, and a little bit of a contact there and a struggle between the 47 and 57 trying to get to the pit stall. And it really jacked up the 47's entrance, really had to check them up. They kind of both had a decision to make, who lets who by, and they both did not want to let each other by, so really slowed up the 47 on that stop. That's going to maybe make him lose a couple positions, but that's kind of tough to see late into this run here.
Oh, especially with a teammate on top of that. That's not what you want to see. Coming in like that. It's an unfortunate thing. Pit road, again, it's a short track, so we know that these tracks are tight to begin with, and pit road is just as tight. But like you said, I mean, it put the 47 of Hedrick in a real difficult scenario. I mean, he was angled in that box like I haven't seen a car angled in a box like that in quite a while, but was able to come to the service of his crew, but definitely costly on that track.
These virtual crews are very versatile. It does not matter which angle you throw the car. As long as the rule is applied, they are able to change your tires, and they will do so in a hurry with very little mistake. So you see the number 7 pit stop as well. So green flag pit stops are slowly tinkering through here. It's about the 3rd or 4th car to make their final green flag pit stop this evening. I'm kind of curious. The 67 still, he's got about 10 laps on this advantage here from his pit stop. So even though he's the first one lap down, that car is on a mission. So at what point do you have to give up that lead to come down to pit road, knowing that James Wallace has a really strong car with the fresh Goodyears?
As it sits right now, we got 46 laps left in this event, Jeremy. It's 3 wide. I mean, look at him just drive right on by the 15 and Nicholas Moreau. At 46 laps, these laps go fast. You know it. I know it. These drivers know it. This lead pack is going to have to come down and get fresh tires, because, I mean, the time difference between these drivers with fresh tires and these other ones, he's at this rate right now, the 67 of James Wallace is looking to pass Brody Hannah, who is your second place running car right now. He could go back and get this lap back the old-fashioned ways. You see Brody Hannah down on the apron to come to the attention of his crew. That's not what you want to see, though, him pulling these laps, because by the time that Richie Coy comes in, which Richie Coy is in as well, that's just going to be time lost on that track that Richie's going to have to work double time and Brody's going to have to work triple time to try to make up, as long as this thing stays green.
Richie Coy did make the pit stop. 15, Nicholas Moreau also in, so a lot of the top guys in. Chuck Sweeting exiting his pit stall as well, so essentially the top 5 are in for their pit stops. 19 really close to making that a little too fast of an entry, but got down to speed just at the right time to try to maximize his efforts there, which he's going to need to do. These guys are all running really strong just to validate your position on the track. Why not try to get everything, as long as you don't speed? That's the only important part there. But as these guys kind of exit down pit road, we're going to really see the strength of the 67 at this point in time, who's already scored ahead of Richie Coy, cycling through here. And it looks like it's a really good length of track that 67 has. Almost looks like a half a track initially, even a little bit more. So that's a lot of ground there to make up in 44 laps.
Yeah, that's a lot of ground to try to make up in 44 laps right now. So right at half a track distance, 40 laps, Jeremy. That's all he's got to work with. So unless a caution comes out to really, throw this into a bad scenario, you could see the 67 have himself in good contention. And we've seen this type of strategy work out from this team prior, Jeremy. That's how he found himself in victory lane, was he sat here and come in. One of the early drivers got out to a commanding lead. The cautions did not fall the way that the other drivers wanted them to fall, and he found himself in victory lane, and he could possibly be setting himself up for a repeat of that very same scenario.
As long as he keeps that car completely clean underneath him and doesn't make any mistakes to scrub any excess tire wear off, has a good chance. Kind of keep a close eye on the lap sides, or lap times. Right now, his last time was 23 flat across the board. That was James Wallace. Kicking back over to Richie Coy, who had just gone through some lap traffic and currently sitting behind the 33 trying to pass him. His last lap time was a 22.5, so it's about half a second difference, an advantage to the 19. That was with the 33 in front of him, so it could potentially be a little bit more of an advantage. So a little over half a second per. We got about, what would you say, about a 15-second disadvantage now, 40 laps left. It's going to come down to the wire.
And it's going to come down to the wire. And Jeremy, you were just talking about it as well. Right now, Richie Coy has an open track in front of him. He's going to be able to really start making up a little bit of that time. But there's cars all around this track. That's one of the key factors of short track racing, especially on long green flag runs, is you got cars all around the track here. So any car that the 67 is working his way through, Richie Coy's going to have to work his way through as well. And if you don't time it right, that's going to play a hindrance on it as it sits right now. Like you said, it's if it stays green for the next 37 laps, Jeremy, it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be close.
James Wallace, those first two cars, he got around the 0-2 and the 10. Got around them really quickly, so that's exactly what he wanted to see. And maybe he hopes that the 19 gets a little bit of held out there as he gets to them guys in probably the next 15 laps or so. But the times are still just over, right around a half a second advantage to the 19. As we know right now, he's got the fastest car. And going through the field, Dustin, here a little bit, Chuck Sweeting, 18.7 seconds back of the leader. Richie Coy, 6.5. So there's a 12-second disadvantage between those two guys who are only 3 seconds prior. I don't know what happened to Chuck, but something drastic happened, and it's pushed him way back into 11th place.
And that's not what he wants to see, especially with that championship battle. Only 6 points separation between himself and Richie Coy. And Jeremy, as it sits right now, Chuck Sweeting is back in 10th. Richie Coy is running second. They have both led laps this race. If it would end right now, you could mark Richie Coy to that point lead, and Chuck Sweeting would lose that point lead for the first time in weeks.
I think right now, as long as there's no mistakes made at this point, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you that Richie Coy is in a great position right now. He's second place, and if he can get to the back bumper of James Wallace, just right now, there's only 5.5 seconds that separate Richie from James. So I think at this point, with that amount of speed that he's found, I think he's gonna get there. He's gonna get there with a decent amount of time left. It's going to put him P1. Right now, Chuck's moved up to 9th. So this will definitely put him right on the point. It's going to be basically a dead heat, maybe a point to the positive for Richie going into 2 races left. So this just really just brings down this points. And it also helps Brody Hannah, Dustin. Brody's 4 positions ahead of Chuck. That brings in that 23 a little bit closer than 20 points. So this is really going to bring things down to the wire as they head to Daytona.
Yeah, and it really is. I mean, you're talking right now, Brody Hannah running in that 5th position, Chuck Sweeting in that 9th. That is a 4-point gain right there, which doesn't seem like a lot when you're saying, well, heck, it's only 4 points. What's that going to do? That almost cuts off a quarter of the separation between Chuck Sweeting and Brody Hannah right now. 20 points separates it. That'd knock it down to 16 points. That's just in one race. And Jeremy, you know as well as I, Daytona's a wild card. I mean, you could go in with a 10-point lead, 15-point lead, and if there's 20 cars and you wreck out one of the first ones out, there goes your championship.
Yeah, usually the wild card happens like in the first half of the playoffs, not at the very tail end of the thing. So it's just a crazy race to end it on. And see the 75 lets the 0-2 by, no problem there. Really slow through that corner. Maybe there's a handling issue on that 75. I just don't see why he's so far back. I went back and looked at the tapes a little bit. Did not see any reason why the 75 is so far back. So it could just be a handling issue. Not entirely certain. But yeah, this is good for me and you, Dustin. This is great. You know, kind of really brings the action down to the final race. Really just tighten things up. Gives us something to talk about. But for him, he definitely does not want to see this, and potentially could be losing that championship lead at the end of this race.
Yeah, and like I said, right now Chuck is on the verge and on the risk right now of losing that championship lead. The 67 of James Wallace is on the verge of losing this race lead, as right now there is less than 2 seconds separation between himself and the 19. So Jeremy, it is all but safe to say that 19 is coming and should be able to pass that 67 without really any major issues. You know, the biggest difference right there is going to be tires. The 19 has got way fresher tires on what that 67 does. But the 67, again, coming in a short pit, maybe trying to hope for a caution coming out before this point happened. You can see the 19 right now working his way into the picture right behind that 67. They are in the same frame now, less than half a second separate. Look at the corner closure that you have on the 19 of Richie Coy. He's going to get that run now going down that front stretch right on the inside. Not going to be any issue passing that 67, Jeremy.
New race leader 19, Richie Coy. He cleanly passes him. And yeah, after these guys both hit clean air on the nose, there was about a 7 to 8 tenths of a second difference. That's why Richie got there a lot faster than I was originally thinking. We're 24 laps left into this race, and he's already gotten to him. So the work is done for the 19. Outside of that, the next person back is going to be Nicholas Moreau. Excellent turnaround, bringing himself back into second place, because we know he's going to pass James Wallace as well with that huge tire difference. He pitted the same exact lap Richie Coy did. So once he gets around him, it's going to put in P2, holding just about two second disadvantage to the 19, which has been like that basically since they came off of pit road as well. So about the same ground there. So, but still, I think James Wallace might prevail, if not equal out. It's going to be tough to see. He's got a 4-second advantage over fourth, which where he was in fifth place. Sherwood Williford on the tail of Brody Hannah for that fourth place.
Yeah, you see the 15 of Moreau going to the inside of the 67. James Wallace is not going to battle him, knowing the tire difference there. Again, it's the skill level there. We've seen James Wallace racing up there with all these guys, has the skill level, but right now, getting beat out just merely on fresher tires. That's what it boils down to. But like you said, 4.5 second difference. Between him, well, it's actually down to a 2 second difference between himself and that of Brody Hannah. You see Brody Hannah starting to work in the same frame back there behind the 67. It's not going to be too long, before the 23 is up to the back end of the 67 as well. Jeremy, it's the 67 needs a caution. That's what he is hoping for right now, because his tires are cooked. They're all but used up at this point in time.
Appreciate the 67 for giving us something to talk about, trying to mix some things up, trying to get himself in a better position. But Richmond's just too tough on the tires, apparently, for that strategy to play out in his favor, as he will fall to the clutches of Brody Hannah and Sherwood Williford. if no caution comes out here real quickly, probably in the next 2 to 3 laps, maybe even 4. That's going to drop him, into a spot that's lower than where he was when he came down pit road initially. So, but it was a good effort though. But Nicholas Moreau still, I think he's actually slightly better than Richie if they both have clean air on the nose. 67 got bad loose, by the way, on exit of turn 4 on the 23 to get right to him right now. But yeah, Nicholas Moreau, he's just about a 10th faster than Richie each lap. So that might be something to look at as this race does wind down. We're under 20 to go.
Yeah, he is a tick faster, but again, Richie Coy dealing with lap traffic, having to adjust his line. And that's going to be the lap traffic that Nicholas Moreau is going to have to work his way through. So on the flip side of that, Richie can try to gain some of that lost time back up as a 14, Elaine Allen hard into the wall right in front of second place, Nicholas Moreau. That's going to put him on the inside line. It's going to make the 15 have to go to the outside on that. That's going to slow him up. 15, ooh. Man, if he didn't touch that wall, Jeremy, that was close. Wicked close. As that right there is going to cost him in time, and it's almost just like what we were talking about, Jeremy. It wasn't intentional on the 14 Elaine Allen. He just slapped the wall. Had to go down to the low side there to save it, and it was right at the entry of the next corner, so he couldn't get out of that low line to yield to the leaders.
Trying to run down the leader, and you see something like that happen right in front of you, that's the last thing you want. It did cost him a couple tenths of a second that time, trying to get around the 14, which he done so now. And yeah, I think that car breathed on the wall. I don't know if he hit the wall, but you couldn't fit more than a couple sheets of paper in between the 15 and the wall. So as he tries to regroup and get back on it, we're now 15 laps left. I don't know if the time is going to be in the favor of the 15. Richie Coy just has to keep it smooth and simple, and I think this race is all but his. See some of these other guys. Stephen Lou Allen, who was involved in that earlier wreck, he's got a lot of rear end damage. He just picked up a spot. Mr. Lou Allen's up to 6th place, 10 spots from the initial start.
Yeah, which is amazing after being involved in the in that initial wreck. And I mean, the damage on this car, that's why, again, short tracks are nice. I mean, aerodynamics do not play a factor in this at all. So these cars here, they could be beat up beyond belief as long as it handles properly, as long as there's no motor damage. I mean, you can technically still be competitive, and the 24 Lou Allen right now is proving that. I mean, the back end right now almost looks like it's a subcompact hatchback by the way that it's all smashed in. So, but going back up to the front, Richie Coy, I agree with you, Jeremy. I mean, all he has to do is just ride, be smooth, be clean, and I think his best friend right now is going to be that lap traffic. As long as he keeps putting cars in between himself and Nicholas Moreau, that's only going to make his chances that much better. As we are at 11 laps to go, Jeremy, they're going to get 10 laps to go this time by.
And he is extending his lead over Moreau, now 2.5. And then 3 seconds separates Moreau from Brody Hannah. Chuck Sweeting has found himself up to 7th place. He's got 2 seconds to gain on Stephen Lou Allen if he can maybe get to 6th. But as it sits right now, that is a 7-position disadvantage for Chuck, with a 6-point lead coming in with Richie's win potentially here in 9 laps. This will put him as the new points leader with 2 races to go heading into Watkins Glen. And this is going to move Brody from that 20 points bout to about 17 or 18, depending on where he can finish. So just closing it. Oh, Richie got a little bit loose that time. You don't want to see that. Don't. That's not what you want to do, the 19. Just kind of keep it smooth, man.
Yeah, and like I said, that is how close this points battle is. I mean, we were just talking about Chuck being back in, 10th place. He was back there, fighting it out. Now I'm finding himself up into 7th. It's every point is going to count. If he can get himself up into 6th place right now, they one more position, and that's what is the difference. Right now, he would be driving out of here, loading up that car in the hauler, going out under the tunnel pass, potentially being in 2nd place by 1 point. If he can gain one more position, he could, again, be going through that same tunnel pass, but being tied for the lead with him in the 19.
And Watkins Glen's going to be an interesting one as well. there could be a lot of chaos that happens there as they are driving to turn number 1 on the downhill, really fast straightaway to a really sharp corner. But these next-gen cars, the way they can, defender-wise, they can beat each other up a little bit more. You never know what could happen there. And, of course, Daytona, we've already talked about that. We're going to let that settle itself out in 2 weeks. But we have 5 laps to go. Richie's at a 2.7-second advantage now. And then 4 seconds back from that is Brody. Chuck Sweeting still sitting in 7th. 2 seconds back of 6th place. I don't think there's going to be any position change there. So they're essentially running right where they're probably going to finish, I would say. So our points are pretty on cue. Richie now has 4 laps to go to steal the 3rd win of the season, or 2nd win of the season, and reclaim the points lead.
Yeah, as you said right now, those top 3 are pretty well spaced out. Unless something drastic happens, that's where your top 3 are going to finish. Right now, a big battle for position is going to be between the 67 of James Wallace and the 33 of Sherwood Williford, as Sherwood has caught the back end of the 67 right now with 3 laps to go as the leader just crossed the line. So this position battle right here could definitely heat up in the closing 3 laps, Jeremy.
For some of these guys like Wallace and Williford, that position's really close there. Big tire difference from them as well. But yeah, everybody else is basically separated and kind of just running their own thing. As Richie Coy now, 2 laps to go before this thing is all said and done.
Yeah, 2 laps to go to mark another notch on the belt and bring him to 2 wins on the season, tying him with his championship contender. Not only championship points, but also on the racetrack, the Richie and Chuck show. Looking to see if he can get 2 wins. White flag presented by Mach1 Performance. 4 more corners for that number 19. As long as he keeps it clean, no pressure from behind. And again, all he has to do is take it down that straightaway, Jeremy. 2 more corners for that 19.
And we're going on a trip in Richie's favorite rocket ship. Number 19 taking the checker flag at Richmond International Raceway to take his 2nd win of the season. The points lead in the championship as they head into Watkins Glen.
Excellent drive on that, Jeremy. I wouldn't have been able to call that from the start of the race the way that it was. It definitely seemed like he was struggling at the start, but whatever changes that 19 crew made throughout this entire race, fantastic run that they had on there. And again, excellent drive. Win number 2 on the season, tying him with his championship contender. Right now you see Brody Hannah, who finished 3rd, coming up there, giving congratulations to the 19. A little bit of a tail slap there on the door. Congratulations, buddy. We're going to see the traditional Polish victory lap. Anytime we see this 19 car take victory lane, always does that Polish victory lap. Doesn't matter what size the track.
Doesn't matter if it's a virtual crew or a crowd or if it's a real crowd in his actual short track race car that he has. He's going to do that Polish lap. He loves to do it. That's the only way he celebrates. So as he takes his lap, we're going to run down that unofficial results here for the 200 lap event at Richmond. Richie Coy obviously taking home the checkered flag this evening. Nicholas Moreau going to be P2. Brody Hannah, Fury Motorsports 1 and 3. He finishes 3rd. James Wallace 4th. Kind of reserved that 4th place for himself. I thought he was going to fall back a little bit further, but he able to come back and finish 4th. Strong finish there.
Up 19 positions, mind you. That is our big mover.
19 positions. That's excellent. He's done that a couple of times too. He's really surprised us with that.
He really
5th
has.
place, Sherwood Williford. 6th place, Stephen Lou Allen. 7th place, Chuck Sweeting. 8th place, Ryan Hedrick. 9th, Alex Murphy, and to round out tonight's top 10, Wayne Grossi.
Yeah, Steve Loomis is going to round out in 11th, up 7 positions. Excellent run for that 17 team. Lane Allen, couple close calls, is going to end the night in 12th. Josh Mayu, after being involved in one of those accidents, was able to rebound back up to his starting spot, finishing 13th. Josh Johnson up 5 spots to finish 14th. Martin Garreau rounds out in 15th. Kyle Milliken, 16th. Chris Beck in that 44, also involved in one of those cautions, up 7 spots, finishes 17th from his starting spot. Jonathan Varanoskis finishes 18th on that one there. One of our bigger losers tonight. And I don't like to say the L word. Not that they're losers, it's just meaning hard luck. How about we try that one there? One of our hard luck drivers out there. Sorry, Jonathan. Bad choice of words. Brian Dublé finishes 19th. Tony Solari, 20th. 21st is going to go to Justin Diltz in that 91 Ford. Brandon Elder is going to round out the night in 22nd. 23rd is going to go to Fred Moreau, involved in that big massacre pileup going into the first turn there that damaged and took out a lot of cars. One of those being Gil Gawk, who is our hardest luck driver of the night, down 15 spots from his starting spot to finish 24th. And Brian Bliss will round out your final 25 driver entry list, Jeremy.
I liked hard luck. I'm not sure if the hardest luck's going to stick for me, but we'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out. We're still working on it.
That's right. And it's going to lead us right into the Martin Sports post-race show, of course, by Martin Sports. We can get all your apparel from your waist up. They got your back. And we're going to bring in our third place finisher, Mr. Brody Hannah, who had a pretty strong car all night long. Third place was his home. Mr. Brody Hannah, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, man. Congratulations on getting podium position. Your car was third place essentially 90% of this race, and it looks like you had a pretty decent car overall. It's just the long run was a little bit of a hindrance for you. Tell us, what was the difference between you and Richie's cars?
Yeah, I was just talking to Nick about his hindrances. That'll be fun to talk about. But yeah, I mean, it was decent. The car was a little too tight in the middle of the corner on the longer runs, but other than that, man, it had great forward bite off the corner, and that's what I focused on. And you know, it had it, and we were able to, you know, like you said, we were third, fourth, second, somewhere in there the whole night, and we're able to kind of pull away from some of those other guys on the long run. So I was pleased with it. Still not a winning setup, but again, like I told you guys last week, we're working on it, and we're figuring this stuff out.
Definitely figuring the stuff out, especially coming from somebody who is openly on the book stated they're not a fan of this car. We've definitely coined the open air quotes when it comes to you talking about these cars. But I tell you what, I mean, the way that you were driving and the way that your team is, I mean, it's a good rebound here. It seems like the last couple of weeks, Fury Motorsports has just been off just the slightest bit on some of these setups. You know, some of these other teams coming in real strong. So it's gotta feel good. Tell us how it feels, you know, coming in and getting a first and third in the podium here and seeing Richie there potentially take the points lead depending on how the points shake down.
Yeah, Richie did a good job tonight. That's you know, we were talking about how even we were. On the first run, he was a little too loose, made some adjustments in the pits, was able to kind of come back and get it balanced where he liked it, and just kind of took off from there. Raced with Chuck a little bit, the usual. You know, I go by him on the short run, he goes by me on the long run. We do this every week. And then Nick had a very eventful night. So, racing up front, spinning, coming back through the field, finishing second. Great job to him as well. But yeah, as far as the team goes, very happy. I'd love to get it a 1-2, but 1-3 on the podium, that's great. Glad to see Richie rebound. Richie's actually suffering. He'll tell you more about this, but he's suffering from some sickness too. So, I guess this is a good remedy for him.
I would say a victory would cure a lot of issues, but yeah, we'll get his take on that for sure. Yeah, congratulations once again on third place, man. Just one final thought before we let you go. Watkins Glen next week. What's your thoughts on Watkins Glen?
Well, if I'm honest with you, I think I won this race last year, all the way a year ago. Now we're talking a completely different car, but from what, and actually this will be Tony's wheelhouse to get all the teammates involved. This will be Tony's kind of bread and butter next week, and he's probably going to set us up pretty good for that because he did for Sonoma. So looking forward to that. Been to victory lane there before. I don't see why we can't do it again.
Good luck to you, man. And any final thoughts overall before we let you go?
We got to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. Looking forward to next season as well. I got to thank the teammates, of course, Richie Coy and Tony Solari on Fury Motorsports. Like I said, we're working hard, digging deep, and finding some things. Got to thank everybody in the race tonight. Had a pretty clean race for a Richmond race. Everybody did a really good job. A lot of good racing out there too, from what I've seen. And so thanks to everybody there. And finally, I do want to tell everybody that's watching that wants to get in on this, make sure to check out FTSR.net. There's instructions on there about the new stuff coming next season, about how to get registered. If you guys want to get in and be a part of this, especially teams, we're looking for teams because we got a new team owner system. We're looking forward to how that plays out as well with credits and you send contracts and all this other good stuff. So really looking forward to that. If you're interested, check us out, FTSR.net, and be a part of what you saw tonight, some of the greatest racing here on iRacing.
And on our YouTube page, there's a 17-minute video explaining everything for 2022C.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
well, yes, sir. Thank you, Brody, for the time there, and enjoy the rest of the night with your team, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And that was third place, Mr. Brody Hannah. Now it's time to bring in your runner-up tonight with a very eventful evening, Mr. Nicholas Moreau. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
What a crazy night, man. You led the practice charge, just missed qualifying by 9/1000ths of a second over Richie. And then looks like your car had some really crazy issues in that first stint. You came down pit road under the caution, you got it fixed. And then you were up there. And then just walk us through your night overall. Like, it was pretty eventful for you.
Yeah, first of all, I'm very, very exhausted and wet. Yeah, like I said in the Discord with the other guys, long story short is one setup, one choice, I would say, because I practice with a way cooler track, and then I have to make a choice, and wasn't a good one. The first stint was not good for me. The car was very too tight. And then I've got titles, obviously, and I was like, I'm done. I need to pit on the green, and I've been saved by the bell when the yellow came out two laps after my pit. So I did something every single pit, and yeah, I fixed pretty much the car because the car was way better. And yeah, I've got the second place. I cannot say more. I'm very happy about that.
And I would definitely be very happy with that, especially with the way that the race started out. Excellent save, by the way, on that one there, because that car was way out of shape there, keeping it off the wall and at other cars. So excellent job. Excellent rebound coming back in. It seems like that you've been on a rail, 8 poles this season. You hold the most wins this season so far. What can we expect from that 15 team going into a road course next week as we visit Watkins Glen?
Well, I like road course. I'm not the expert at all, but I like it. So yeah, I'm gonna practice. The setup is not the major thing, but I will make few laps for sure. And I don't know how many teammates I will get next week. Maybe 15 car will be alone, but I expect to be. I want to win for sure, but top 3 will be nice for now.
Yeah, you got the most wins of the season in 2022B with 3, and I'm sure a 4th or a 5th win would look very nice there in the for the season. But congratulations once again, runner-up. It's a great finish considering everything that happened to you this evening. But the floor is yours. Any final thoughts or people out there you'd like to thank?
Yes, sir. I will say thanks to EasyWay Pro Transit, Lassie Sport, and Lavoie Equipment Agricole. Those guys support us in real life and on the sim. Thank you again, guys, for your job, and the admin for the league. The leagues for the next season will be very fun. We'll be there, and yeah, thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good night, and we will catch you next Monday.
Yes, sir. See ya.
That was second place finisher, Mr. Nicholas Moreau. He's trying to track down a 4th and potential 5th win of the year, or the season rather. Now it's time to bring in your race winner. The second victory of the season, Mr. Richie Coy. And then 19, Mr. Richie, got a copy.
What's up, guys?
What is going on? Congratulations on the second victory of the year. That car, the first run, I was like, maybe he's got something here. And then you tweaked a couple things. I heard you're underneath the weather as well. So battling a car that didn't start off just right, along with some type of illness you got. Brody said you'd just fill us in. So what was your thoughts overall on that race? Plus what's going on with you?
Oh yeah, I came down with one of them severe colds that might have something to do with my race number, and I'm on day 3, and I don't want to say it because I don't want YouTube to go nuts or anything like that. So not feeling all that well. I was going to show up tonight and see what I could do, and I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make the whole race. And then I got the pole, and then went on from there. But I was wicked loose on that first run, and I was able to tighten it up. And a second and third stint, and it was on rails.
On rails, that is an understatement to say the least. We knew that you had a rocket ship out of the gate there, taking that pole time, which is a feat in its own, especially with Rocket Man Moreau up there with 8 poles on the season so far. So definitely knew that you had a piece underneath you, but you definitely had us worried there on that first stint. We don't normally see you fall back as far and as fast as what you did. But it just seemed like you guys stayed on it all race long. After that wreck that happened, that unfortunately claimed, I think there was about 6 drivers that really got claimed up in that one there. That's when it looked like that you really start turning things around. Did you really start laying the heat on at that point in time?
Well, the first run was a combination of the car just being a little bit too loose and me taking off too quick, trying to run with Nick, and I just burned the right rear off. I had when I stopped in that first run, there was like 65% in the right rear already. So I went ahead and tightened it up. And then each time I took off, I tried not to burn that right rear off for the run. And it seemed to really give me a good long run speed.
I had that Covey last month as well. So I know how that goes here recently, but somehow, some way, be able to, fight through that and still come home with a W, which impressive all alone there in the dominant fashion too. A 3-second victory. You're just beating everyone on the short run, long run. That car was just something else to watch.
Is it safe to say that he was down with the sickness?
Yes, you can. In this case, he's really up with it. He's up and down with it at the same time because he got that victory. But
maybe I was
years, man.
I was just trying to blow the field away so I could actually get done with this quicker. I don't know.
See, there you go. See, victory cures all, right?
I didn't cough for the entire race. As soon as the race is over, I'm done nothing but coughing.
Because you're focused.
Maybe, I don't know, but it's a good deal. We'll take it.
Absolutely, man. But floor is yours. Any final thoughts you'd like to throw out there, or sponsors, or anything of that nature?
Same as always, man. Thank you to the league. We got good things going on for 2022 season and for 2023 with the iRacerHub.com. Check it out. Check out the Full Throttle Sim Racing. Like I said, really good things going on there. Thanks to you guys for doing a great job. I can't wait to watch it back tomorrow. Thank you to my teammates, Brody and Tony. Thank you for Tony's family if they watch tonight. And thanks for everybody else for watching.
Absolutely, man. Go get some rest. Congratulations once again on the second win of the season for you.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. That was Richie Coy. I guess he's got that COVID-19 rocking that number on the door panel, so that's kind of a fun little part there. But that's gonna wrap up the race, Dustin. Overall thoughts on Richmond here for 200 laps.
I tell you what, it was an excellent race. They did exactly what I was expecting them to do, which was very patient in the start. I was kind of surprised to see a big one the size that we did. It's not something that we typically see coming to Richmond, that just clogs up the entire track like that. So that was a game changer there. Unfortunately, took a couple drivers out, ending their night early, but a lot of patience, which is what we'd expected. Very close racing. I mean, Jeremy, how often can you say you've seen 3 wide for a lap and a half, and it wasn't just 3 wide in 3 lanes, it was 3 wide in a lane and a half to maybe 2, all the way around the track. So excellent racing all the way around. It's exactly what you'd come to expect from the drivers over here at Full Throttle.
Yeah, Richmond 2, an entire lap 3 wide. You don't see that often, so if these guys can do it, they're doing something right. But that's going to bring a close, though, to the Nerd TV broadcast here at Richmond. We got some sponsors to thank before we do conclude everything. You heard Brody and Richie talk about it, FTSR.net. Big things happening in the next season or two ahead. going to the 1987s on Thursday. So if you're interested in those cars, we had a really awesome all-star event that we broadcasted a while back. So if you want to scroll through the Nerditudes archives, you're going to find that event at Charlotte.
Oh, and it was
Hell of
so
a
good
race.
too. So good.
So very good. It's good to go back and rewatch it at least. But if you want to be a part of that action each and every week, this is the place to do it. FTSR.net. The Mach1 Performance Cup Series sponsor every single Monday night here at Full Throttle. Fabrication shop that's going to take care of your car if you're wanting to have championship style work done to it. They've gotten dirt and pavement oval racing championships. So if you're in the area, Mach1 Performance, take a stop and see what they offer you. Facebook.com/Mach1 Performance. Sim Racing Points. Truck Series sponsor every single Wednesday for the Full Throttle Sim Racing League Truck Series. If you want your league to look professional while displaying all your stats, your points, your drivers, you name it, simracingpoints.com has your back. Once again, simracingpoints.com. Martin Sports, official apparel partner for the Nerditudes, home of the sim gloves of all sim racing, the most grippiest, durable glove on the market. Hands dry for hours on end, no matter what kind of racing you're doing. They also have customized t-shirts, hoodies, hats, especially the t-shirts. Full customized dye shirts. So if you want your sim racing team to look, like an actual team, have Martin Sports at martinsports906.com. Make your team a set. It's the most comfortable thing you will wear while racing behind the wheel. iRacing iFlag, official flag partner for the Nerditudes. Essentially, it's a little box or little device that's on your desk, gives you up to 30 iRacing notifications. So if you want to complete your sim rig, head over to iRacingIFlag.com. And both sites, I forgot to mention the Martin Sports one. Martin Sports is 25% off, and iRacing iFlag is 15% off if you use that code SUPERNERD.
Jeremy had one job, and he bobbled it. Always at the end, Jeremy. Always at the end.
Cowboy style, man.
There you go. So again, check out everything he had to really put the icing on the cake to that sim rig. Jeremy talked about to really finish off that sim rig with the iRacing iFlag. If you really want to get the feel on that sim rig, really give that bread and butter, the butt kicker. It's going to give you all the feel of being inside that car without actually being inside that car, obviously. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com. Check out their Gamer 2 unit. They also have some other haptic transducer units on there as well. So check out all the product line they have. Use Nerd TV. Check out to save you a little bit of scratch. We want to thank MoonlightSpeed.com. That is the official paved setup provider of the nerds here at Nerditudes. Again, excellent setups, constantly updating them, making them faster, making them better to give you that winning edge. Had a good week last week at Richmond, and Kentucky is looking to be just as stellar this week. So check them out. All their packages, MoonlightSpeed.com. On the dirt side, check out houseofspeed.us. Same scenario, just on dirt. These boys get a little dirtier than what those asphalt boys do, and I tell you what, anything that goes in circles on dirt, they got you covered. Sorry, you rally racers out there, not for you. But again, check out what they have, their price packages. A lot of the drivers that work and build at House of Speed are actually in the Pro Series as well for the late models. That's the Butt Kicker World of Outlaw late model series, so check them out as well. And lastly, our energy partner, Nerd Focus. Check out the flavors they have. Green is sugar, blue is sugar-free. I typically go for sugar-free, but either or, both taste fantastic. Use promo code SUPERNERD at checkout to save you 10%. Again, that is nerdfocus.com.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap this up. We're going to catch you next Monday live at Watkins Glen for the second to final race of the season for these Cup guys. Richie Poy is going to go in there P1 in the points by just a point or two over Chuck Sweeting. So stay tuned.
It's getting tight. It's getting tight.
It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. So please join us for the action. Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, essentially wherever you're going to watch your live streams. Nerditudes is going to be there. Just tune in at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time next Monday. Until then, you guys stay safe and make sure to get your nerd on.
And as always, it is not goodbye out there, nerd and nerdettes. It's just till next time. Stay nerdy.